Thank you. Thanks, everybody, and welcome, everybody. I hope this is going to be a long meeting. I think it's pretty short looking. It's a beautiful day out there. We'd like to get out and enjoy the fall weather. Call the meeting to order. Any disclosure of any pecuniary interests under the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. Did I get it?
You did it.
I've been practicing, Judy.
Excellent. Well done, sir.
Thank you.
One more to go.
Yeah, yeah, that's one more to go.
12 years.
Yeah, I know. Well, there you go. You learn something every day. Moved by Councillor McKenzie, seconded by Deputy Mayor Turton. The minutes of the Town of Minto, September 20th, 2022 regular council meeting be approved. Oh, there's Jean. Okay. All in favor? That is carried. Okay, additional items. Anybody got any?
I got a couple.
Ron? Okay. And Judy? Oh my goodness. Dave? Jeff? And if anybody else, let me know. Okay. Moved by Councillor Gunson, seconded by Councillor Dirksen. The Town of Minto Council convenes into committee of the whole. All in favor? That is carried. No public meetings, no delegations, public question period, no public. Correspondence received for information. Anybody want to pull any of that? That's pretty simple. Okay. Moved by Deputy Mayor Turton, seconded by Councillor Ennis. The council receives the correspondence information. All in favor? That is carried. Reports. I'll turn it over to Councillor Elliott to assume the chair.
Thank you. And my job is to introduce Matthew Lubers, and he will bring our report to us.
Thank you, Councillor Elliott. So our committee met 2 weeks ago for the first time since May, so we had some catching up to do. In short, it was a busy summer from both a facility rental and a program registration standpoint. We saw the return of numerous annual events, mainly ball tournaments and Party in the Park, among others. We also started hosting buck and does and large wedding receptions again. And then on the programming side, we had a successful aquatic season, the Palmerston Pool and the Harriston Pool. As well, we saw a resurgence in registrations for our summer day camp programming. And just on that note, our new booking and registration software, ActiveNet, came in quite handy and was utilized successfully for these. I should say it was a mostly positive summer, but we did experience some vandalism. And with some financial assistance from the Palmerston Lions Club, we're looking to install security cameras in Lions Park this month, likely the week after Thanksgiving. And we'll monitor this to see how it goes and may look to expand this to other locations in 2023. Then looking ahead to this fall and winter, the ice season started in Palmerston on September the 12th, and the ice is currently being installed as we speak in Harriston to be ready for rentals as of October 11th. In Clifford, we're currently facilitating 6 weekly drop-in pickleball sessions, and we're up to 5 courts now on the arena floor. The floor is also being used for adult ball hockey on Thursday night, and indoor shuffleboard will return to the arena lobby after outdoor shuffleboard wraps up at the Harriston train station this month. We've had looking like a good week for weather-wise this week, so they'd like to stay outside and enjoy that. The new dressing rooms are still under construction in Palmerston, and substantial completion is expected by the end of next week, and full completion by the end of the month, which is exciting. And I should also point out the Northern Theatre has been in an extended shutdown due to content availability, but we're excited to be reopening the weekend after Thanksgiving for weekend feature films. That's all I got.
Yep. I just want to mention too that the basketball lights, new basketball lights have been put up at the park in Palmerston, and they're fantastic. I mean, it's just like looking at an arena. And last night, for example, there was at least 12 people playing basketball after dark. So probably till 8 o'clock at night, still playing. So it's kind of good. I think it's great that we finally got decided to. We had little bulbs at one time that really didn't do the job, and they were vandalized a bit. So
yeah, I remember that well, and they were taking the bulb off to try to get as much light as possible on the sports pad there. So yeah, what we've done is we've replaced the decorative lighting with some better lighting, because the you know, the hours in the day are getting shorter and the demand for basketball, I mean, it's exceeded my expectations, and we are looking at putting a second set of nets up there as well, just where the hockey nets are now. So yeah, that's a very well utilized sports pad.
Sure is. Okay, I'm going to read the recommendation, and then after that, we'll ask for discussion. It's moved by Councillor Dirksen and seconded by Councillor McKenzie that the Community Service Advisory Committee meeting of September 19th, 2022 be received for information, and any recommendations contained therein be approved. Okay, discussion if any.
Thank you, Chair Elliott. To Matt, so I'm looking at new business. I think that's a great thing, the Clifford Arena, all those things that are going on. You know, Monday night we have broom ball, Tuesday night we have pickleball, Wednesday night we have basketball, Thursday night we have baseball. That's wonderful. It really is. I mean, it's a great thought, and I'm not saying that's exactly the way it is, but I mean, we talk about batting cages. We have people in our community that want to practice ball year round. I was involved in that. So I mean, I congratulate the staff for investigating that. I'm not sure where that came from, but I think it's a great idea. So thank you.
Yeah, we're peers right away without even getting into it. It's going to be a winter hub maybe in Clifford, like summer sports in a winter place, would people direly need, obviously. I think there's a lot of interest. People showed interest with me.
I think now what you're seeing is there's a lot of sports that used to be 6 months out of the year that are now full year. And so you've got, some traditional summer sports and traditional winter sports where you've got different user groups looking for opportunities like this to use a venue and keep it open just for an alternative purpose.
Yeah, and what I see from it is the amount of people that will be attending that facility compared to what we had when it was ice. That's going to be used by many, many people, and probably as much as we have in ice times in one community.
Well, and like even using pickleball for an example, there's definitely some residents that will come to the facility to play pickleball that may not be comfortable, skating or playing any type of sport on an ice surface. So, yeah, again, I mean, it's great. We have a multitude of venues, and it's nice to be able to offer a variety of programming, whether it's on a sheet of ice or not.
It's great.
Yep.
Any other questions, comments?
Just on that line, and I think that was something, and I don't know where you guys will be next term, probably sometime in 23. I don't know, Chris, if you remember what we're doing with the master plan, but this gives you a good opportunity, Chair, to try some other sports and realize that there is going to be other facilities, different types of facilities. And I think a lot of the times when we had those discussions, it was sort of a hypothetical thing, because in the wintertime we didn't have all 3 ice surfaces in. So great opportunity to do some testing and see what the facility needs to go forward. And so take advantage of that, I guess. Chris, did you want to? Sorry.
Joy, for sure. We are looking at resurrecting that, but Mark and I have been working with department heads to kind of the theme, we're letting the kind of a sneak preview to our budget, but the theme is next year's a planning year that we can plan for the next 4 years. And so our strategic plan, our recreation master plan, our cultural plan, all our plans need updated. So we're planning on looking for some help and jumping into that to start updating all those plans and putting it in one nice, clean document for everybody to have. And then that will give a really good direction for the new council to be able to go forward. So that's one of our plans, but that's just a sneak preview that we will be bringing back to council in a little bit. So that'll be part of a larger consortium for sure.
Thanks, Chris. Councillor Dirksen?
Thanks, Mr. Chair. I was just wondering, how warm can we keep the Clifford Arena ice, what used to be the ice surface?
Through Councillor Elliott, if you were to put heaters in there and vent them properly, you can maintain it between 10 and 20. Last year with no heat, I think it got as low as 7. But even in the coldest part of winter, a lot of times it was 9 degrees. And the main thing when you're doing programming on the floor is if you've got condensation, you've got a liability. So by running the dehumidifier, some of the groups actually preferred playing in the colder temperatures than during the summer when just because of the insulation, it can get quite hot in there too. So as long as the floor doesn't pose a safety issue and the dehumidifier is working as it should, yeah, 8 or 10 degrees without heat and you're still okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thanks. That surprises me. I thought it would be much colder than that. That's great.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, all in favor of the motion? Okay, and I'll give it back to you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Chair. And our first up, staff reports, we have Kyle. Welcome, Kyle. You're gonna do it right from there. Good. It's our source water protection report.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Bridge, members of council. Through you, Mr. Mayor, I'm presenting this report to you today on updates to the Maitland Valley Source Protection Plan and Assessment Report. As previously reported to council, source protection plans are routinely updated. We've been in front of council in the last few years for Saugeen, and now this is the Maitland Valley updates. The report outlines staff. First of all, staff have worked with the Maitland Valley staff quite closely over this over the last few years, and the report outlines the updates. And if you just allow me a second to put my glasses on. So the first update that's pertinent to the town of Minto is an update to the Palmerston Whites Road municipal wells to accurately delineate the 100-meter radius. Previous versions of the documents from Maitland Valley and the province had showed only one municipal well. So this work was completed in 2019 by R.J. Burnside, previously reported to the town, and is now going forward with an update. There are also a number of policy changes in terms of the source protection plan, which will eventually result in changes on the ground. In particular, there is a new requirement for risk management plans for road salt storage, road salt application, and snow storage. Now, this will be right within the 100 meters radius of the municipal wells in the town of Minto, and it's only for parking lots or hard surface areas greater than 1,000 square meters. So there's only a handful of properties that will meet that threshold. There's also a number of policies related to directed to municipalities around road maintenance as well as education, and both of these policies are anticipated that the work's already being done and is covered by the work we're already done. And there's also a few other changes regarding fuel handling and chemical handling and waste management, which brings the Maitland plan in line with some of the other plans across the county. So overall, staff are in support of these changes. We will be providing detailed comments to Maitland Valley by the October 14th deadline, but wanted to bring this report to council for their information and any comments they may have so that we can include those in the commenting period. Following submission of the comments, there will be a public consultation period, likely early next year, and eventually approval by the province in the next year or year and a half. Thank you.
Thank you, Kyle. Any questions for Kyle?
Mayor Bridge, just a comment. I know that the gals that are on the committee up at Asabo and Maitland appreciate your expertise. I mean, I know that they're doing a great job as well, but working together is excellent. And then with our chair, Matt, again, we talk quite a bit about it at Maitland Valley meetings, and I can just tell you that they appreciate working with you. So thanks for your dedication and your work with them.
Oh, thank you. Through you, Mayor Bridge. Thank you, Councillor Turton. I appreciate hearing that. And yeah, it's great to work with the Maitland staff. They're always great to work with.
Thank you. And I'm just going to pass on a little thing, Kyle. It's my last time probably see you, so yes. It's great. And I tell you, this was, I don't know when we start this.
It started, yeah. The very first approval was here in Minto, and that was in 2015. 2015. Yeah. And that was a great opportunity that we went with the county to put you on charge. And I know you've trained some people throughout your tenure and still going, but I'm believing you. So thanks for all your work and support throughout the years. I think this has been a lot tougher situation without that direction. Thank you, Mayor Bridge. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. Moved by Councillor Anderson, second by Councillor Elliott. The Council of Town of Minto receives for information the Source Water Protection Report regarding updates to the Maitland Valley Source Protection Plan and Assessment Report. All in favor? That is carried. And now we have our annual Emergency Management Program Report, and Heather's here to do that. Hi, Heather.
Hi, it's see you again, Mayor Bridge. So thank you, Mayor Bridge and councilors, for having me here today. Through you, Mayor, I'm here to present the 2020 Emergency Management Program Report. Recommendation that council receives the Emergency Management Program Report for 2022 and accepts the report on the status of the town's Emergency Management Program for 2022. The following report outlines the municipal requirements as set out in the Emergency Management and Civil Protection Act. And I wanted to say that the municipality has fulfilled these requirements for 2022. Some of the items that kind of build the emergency management program is to start the program committee. So the Emergency Management Program Committee met virtually on April 1st, 2022, to review the town's emergency management program. This includes the hazard identification and risk assessment, emergency response plan, any training needs, proposed annual exercise, and the public education. Next, for the emergency response plan, that was adopted by council in the fall of 2020. There is no new amendments for this year. However, once we complete our final after action report for COVID-19, which is in plan for this year, there will be something coming your way next year coming out of that. Next, for training, the members of the town's municipal emergency control group, both primary and alternates, have satisfied the training requirements for this year. I'm sure everyone's seen the forms, lovely forms we send out. While much of the prescribed training is covered during the municipality's annual emergency management exercise, additional training opportunities have been provided throughout the year. And this has been the basic emergency management course. We did do Red Cross training virtually earlier this year. The Scribe course just took place in September. And we have the basic incident management system, the IMS 200, coming up in November. Next was the emergency management exercise. So that took place this year on June 14th in conjunction with the Township of Wellington North. And this exercise surrounded a cyber attack happening within a municipal setting. The objectives of this exercise were to examine policies and procedures that are currently in place to prevent, mitigate, prepare, and respond to a cyber attack. Discuss coordination between staff and external IT services and how they would develop and disseminate information, alerts, and warnings to staff in response to a cyber incident. And lastly, to test the IMS roles and responsibilities as laid out in the emergency response plan. The recommendations and outcomes that came out of this exercise were increased training that we noticed. So it was recommended that cybersecurity training be provided to all town staff. So that's something to look for next year. Updated procedures. So cyber attack policies and procedures need to be updated and created through collaboration with the Township of Center Wellington IT, as they have taken over the services for the Township of Minto, for the town of Minto. Staff as well to provide services to the town. Having policies and procedures in place to respond to a cyber attack can help lower the score for this hazard. And lastly, the last recommendation was service provider participation. Participants found it was very helpful that the IT service people were there at the table during the exercise to ask questions too. Next is public education. So public education that we do in emergency management is based on the risks to public safety, and we as well do public preparedness for these emergencies. Throughout 2022, emergency management continued to work with the county communications to share information and key messaging about COVID-19 in conjunction with Wellington, Dufferin, Guelph Public Health, as well as on various other emergencies that can happen. And Minto has been great at sharing those on their social media as well. Emergency Preparedness Week took place on May 2nd to 6th this year. During this week, information was made available through the county's social media page, as well as we had multiple things happen on the county page in the Wellington Advertiser. Contests were also held, both large and small. We did one through social media and then one through Minto libraries, so Palmerston, Harrison, and Clifford. Emergency management coordinators also organized virtual presentations to elementary students in collaboration with our partners, the OPP, Guelph Wellington Paramedic Service, and local fire departments. The emergency management team is also set up for this Thursday actually to be participating in Safe Communities Day. where students from across the county will have the opportunity to view a preparedness video, and then we'll be there to answer any questions that they may have. Something that we do in emergency management for the town of Minto is we do messaging that kind of surrounds a do one thing theme. So each month has a specific theme. This month we'll be focusing on power outages, kind of getting ready for the winter months. Next is critical infrastructure. So every municipality shall identify the facilities and other elements of the infrastructure that are at risk of being affected by emergencies. The critical infrastructure list was updated by the town at the committee meeting. Critical infrastructure identification is managed digitally now through our common operating picture. During the summer, our division undertook a review of critical infrastructure across the county to confirm types, locations, and updating of any photos to include within that map. Any new information and updates are expected to be added to the critical infrastructure layer by the end of 2022, so that's in the works. In conclusion, the town of Minto has fulfilled the mandatory municipal requirements as set out in the Emergency Management and Civil Protection Act and Regulation 380-04 for 2022. Thank you, and I'm open to any questions if anyone has any.
Thank you, Heather, and I'll turn it over to, I missed this, Councillor Anderson has this one, so go ahead, Councillor Anderson, I missed that.
Councillor Anderson. I kind of wondered because of that.
Yeah, well, you should have spoke up, Gina. It's not like you not to say that. Like, you should have told me. You should have told me. Anyways, it's all right. Go ahead.
Are there any questions from the members of council? I have a question.
There you go.
211. Nobody knows about it. If you
Yes.
ask in a room of crowded people, they go, huh?
Yeah,
What use does it get? How much is it access? What does it actually provide for people? I've talked about this to I don't know how many people, and nobody has the foggiest notion what we're talking about. And it's from what it says on the website, it could be a great resource to people. I don't know how many resources it actually has at its availability, and I don't know what sort of use there is of it, but it needs to be better advertised.
thank you, Councillor Anderson. I know, I agree, 2-in-1 is a great resource, and it does actually encompass all social services. So housing, if you need any help within your town, if you're new to the town, and on the side as well, we do have the emergency management side. We've done our best to put it out. We do put it out on social media on a regular basis, as well as the county page. I think there needs to be more explanation, I'm sure, to like what it actually is. People probably see it and might skim by it. From an emergency management standpoint, we utilize it more for if an emergency were to happen, an example that an evacuation center would be opened. We would call 2-in-1 with the information, and then we would push that number out in the event of that actual emergency. So we partner with them more for the emergency management side, but we do push out it to kind of in conjunction because our partners are social services. We work with them closely. But I will take note of that, and maybe there's something that we can do to maybe get it out there more.
Like working in emergency department, we see people in dire circumstances all the time. I talk to the doctors about 2-in-1 and nobody knows. Nobody gets referred. The mental health people who come in don't refer these homeless people to 2-in-1. I don't know if they can actually find accommodation for somebody.
Yeah.
My husband's the chair of social services, and he has people, they know that, so they come to his office. So we've tried to access it ourselves with limited success because of the time that the person showed up. He was needing a place to stay, so David drove him to Kitchener eventually. But it's not well known, and I don't know what it can actually accomplish here, but I'd like to hear more about what it actually can do, because I think it's a resource that's underutilized, but we need to know what it can actually, can it find us a bed if we have somebody showing up? If we have a woman that needs to get out of her home quietly without calling police, can we access that? Is that something they can do for us? Nobody knows about it. Hospital administrators don't know about it. Emergency departments don't know about it. And I think it would be a great resource if it can provide those services for people.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Anderson. I agree. I do agree. So maybe that's something that we can bring up with the.
I'd be happy to help.
Yeah, I would appreciate that. Yeah, because I know Guelph utilizes it quite a bit in regards to stuff like that, like the crisis communication aspect of it. I know for some of the smaller municipalities, as I do all the northern municipalities, so I know that sometimes those challenges can kind of arise a bit more to get that information out. So I would be happy to work with you if you have any ideas. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you for your excellent report. And the recommendation has been handed to me by my seatmate here. Recommendation was moved by Deputy Mayor Turton, seconded by Councillor Mackenzie, that council receives the emergency manager / CEMC's annual emergency management program report for 2022 and accepts the report on the status of the town's emergency management program for 2022. All those in favor? And that's passed. And I'll pass the chair back to Mayor Bridge.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Anderson. Thanks. You can head out and enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you so much, Mayor Bridge and councillors. Have a
Thanks,
great
Heather.
Take care.
Thanks, Kyle.
Okay, so next up we have, let's see, we have dog licensing bylaw. Cam. Right there in front of you. There you go. Go ahead.
Mayor Bridge, members of council. We're looking to update to amend the bylaw, the licensing bylaw 2019-39. We did a bunch of research on this new DocuPet system that's going to save, especially front counter staff, a lot of time on the licensing. All the licensing can be done. It can be done online, over your phone, over the phone, in person only here. Which right now all licensing is done pretty much in person, so it's going to save them a lot of time up front. We're also going to go to 365-day licensing system. So if you license your dog today, your license wouldn't expire until October 4th, rather than sending out 800 letters into March, or no, sorry, 1st of January they send them out. So between saving money on stamps and staff time, paper and envelopes, it won't cost us. I don't think it'll cost us anything. It's pretty much a wash. What it costs us a little extra to do the tags through DocuPet, but it really won't cost us anything in the end. So because of all this, we will have to change the bylaw to, rather than the late fees in March, after March 31st would go up $15. Your dog tag would go up $15. So we have to change the wording on the bylaw for that. And we also have to change the wording in C1A to say every owner of a dog within 21 days of becoming an owner of a dog shall license and register each dog within the town of Minto, rather than saying by March 31st. So
Okay.
that's it.
I'll open it up for questions, Cam. Councillor Elliott, and then Councillor Dirksen, and then Councillor Anderson. Councillor Martin.
I know this is kind of a dumb question, but how do we know who has a dog and who registered? And does somebody register and automatically registers them next year, or somebody new buys a dog?
So new owners, kind of on the honor system that most people understand that if you have a dog, and this is across the country, pretty much everybody requires you to register your dog with your municipality. There are a lot of people out there that don't register them, but like for me, if I get a dog complaint, the first thing I do is I look to see whether the dog is registered, and if they're not, then I go after them for that as well. So,
right. So I register a dog this year. Will my name automatically come up next year?
So what's going to happen is, and this is the nice thing with this DocuPet system. So what we do in January is they send out invoices. So 800 invoices times whatever it is, 92 cents plus your stationery. These guys are going to look after all the notifications. So at 60 days, DocuPet will open up the window that you can start to renew your license. And then at 45 days, they're going to send, if you register your dog with your email address, they'll send you an email to let you know that in 45 days you have to renew. And then 30 days, they'll do it again. In 20 days, they'll send you a letter. If you still haven't done it, 7 days, they'll send you an email. And then the date that your dog tag would expire, they'll call you. They'll send an automated phone call. And then they continue to do that 7 days after, another email, another call, 20 days after, email 30, 45 after. But after 30 days, once your tag expires, 30 days after that, we are going to add the $15 late fee. Normally, we don't do it until April 1st. So we're going to continue with that this year, but after that, the following year, it's 30 days past expiry and you'll be charged extra $15.
So if I no longer have a dog, it's my responsibility to let you know that?
As it is now, like we'll still send you out the invoice.
Okay.
Like we would send you out an invoice this year, but you have to tell us. We don't know that, you know, you've given your dog away, your dog's passed away, whatever, so.
Thanks.
Judy?
Thank you, Mayor Bridge. I'm wondering, what is the cost to the town for this program? Or is it
$4 a tag.
$4 a tag, okay. And what if somebody doesn't have an email? Like, is it still,
Yeah, they will still, so rather than send you the email, they will send letters, they'll do the phone calls. So with our Mennonite population or Amish population that don't have phones, they'll still get the letters.
Yeah.
But most of those will come into the office and register. Staff can do it online for them. So it can be done right on the spot. We collect the payment and carry on. So it's covered whether you have email or phone or not. And then the other thing too with the DocuPet system, we don't have the opportunity to use a credit card here. So you can only use it's either cash or debit. But through DocuPet, you can register online, or we can do it online with your credit card. So, because a lot of people do, I think, come in and ask to use that, and we don't take it.
right, okay. And one last question, 800 dogs. Do you not think there's
835, I think.
do you not think there's like at least 836?
No, I think there's
A
probably
lot
like
more than
12
that, maybe?
Probably like 1,200.
Like,
Well-
are we doing anything to kind of look for dogs, or?
Well, the
just going
problem,
on our
remember,
system?
Judy, is we had a guy that used to go out and do the dog things, and we took that away. I think what I heard from Cam is if the onus is on you. Now, if your dog causes a problem,
Yes,
I forget what the fines are, but they're fairly steep if something happens and they're not tagged, right?
Yeah, if your dog was picked up, and this is going to stay the same, but if your dog is picked up running at large, and doesn't have a tag, or it's not registered with the town, so it's $150 for Rick to pick the dog up, and then because you didn't register your dog with the town, now your dog tag's $50, and then it's $25 a day that Rick keeps it in the pound.
Yeah.
So that's not going to change any.
Yeah, that's a penalty. I'm sure people have maybe registered one and they have three, but
Yeah.
they're taking the risk, right?
right.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Jean?
So Councillor Dirksen took a couple of my questions there. I'm sure there's a whole lot more than 800 dogs in the town of Minto. I'm thinking I could drive down a couple blocks. Almost that many, but anyway, we love our dogs, should be registered. But my concern is, how is this going to get rolled out to people so they understand what's happening, particularly the people that don't have email? So we can't put it on our website. I know we put everything on the website, but lots of people don't look at the website, and lots of people don't have access to it. So how are we going to notify people?
So there is an implementation. We're going through the process right now. Tanya and I have a meeting every week. So we'll have another meeting on Thursday, and they have a program that it will go on our website. So their site will be attached to ours, so you can click on it, go into DocuPet and register your dog. The information will all be there. There's also going to be mailings that will go out. So I think it's covered. I haven't seen all of it. I do have a package. I haven't got through I think it's mostly all late fees, but anyway, there will be information go out in the mail, and it will go in the paper as well, I think.
Perhaps that's a good time to remind people that all of their dogs should be
Should be,
registered.
yeah.
You might be surprised how many dogs we find in Minto.
That's right.
I have 3 out in Ski Road right now that we're working on.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, just a thought.
Was that your question, Councillor McKenzie? No, the ski road? Go ahead. Just.
Only one house?
Might be across the street too.
Yeah,
Did you have a question?
I did. Thank
Yep.
you, Mr. Mayor. We talked about late charges and all that stuff. So there is no penalty for somebody that doesn't want to register their dog.
Yes, there is.
It's in trouble and you catch it.
There is a penalty. If you refuse to register your dog, the fine is $100. You can do 20 to register it or 100 not to. choice
The
of yours.
$15 late tag fee doesn't seem enough for all the work that administration does, and
But we're
$100.
basically taking the work away from,
Yeah,
Mhm.
so they get lots of notifications, so $100, I guess, is okay if you,
Well, if your neighbor complains and they say you have a dog and whatever, and check with Cam and
Yeah.
barking too much, and Cam looks up and says, oh, that was never registered.
we have it in
$100.
place, so it's in place to use, so that's good.
and there will be reports sent to us as well that are gonna state, you know, this guy was registered last year, but he hasn't registered this year, so that's something that we can look into.
Mhm. Yep, go ahead. Ron.
Just quick. Do you act on complaint? If somebody complains, we'll go out and look. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, Mayor Bridge, so Cam, are we last in this? Are we first? Well, obviously, I think it's a great idea. I think it sounds like a great idea, putting the onus on the dog owner. Not sure where it is now, but obviously you've talked to other people that have this in their municipality and it's working well, otherwise you wouldn't be recommending it, correct?
I actually only talked to one person, and they didn't have all the details because that other person, the person that did, wasn't around. But anyways, they never got back to me. But after talking to the company and looking through a lot of things, there's so much that they do. They've taken all the work away from us, and they're doing so much more than what we have been doing in the past to get their whole goal is to get the dogs registered, so that if the dog does get out with its tag on, they have the safe home program, so you can call the number and they'll link the owner up with their pet again. So it's kind of similar to what we had before without the barcode. So it's that, plus they give back to shelters, and it just sounds like such a good program.
So if we get in for a year or 2 or 3 and decide it's not for us, and I mean, I'm a pretty positive thinking person, the glass is half full, not half empty, is there an out or?
Yes, we're gonna sign in for 3 years, test it out. If it doesn't work, we can, I think it's 30 days notice, and we can cancel.
Good, thank you.
Sounds good. Oh,
I'm sorry. So are we using different tags than what we have now?
You can have the most differentest tag you want.
Do
So
we
if
have
you look
tags that
up,
will stay on the dog and not wear out after 6 months? That's
that
what
would
I'm
be
really
up to
wanting
the
to know.
pet owner to get the proper attachment. There's.
But it's a tag that's wearing out. It's not the
Well, these
attachment.
look like they're heavier tags, and if the
Excellent,
tag
okay.
is worn out, they will replace them for free.
there you go.
Okay, good.
So if you go on their site, you can have a look, and there's, I don't know, probably over 100 different styles that you can get.
Oh, my.
The basic tag is, I think it's free. Well, it's included with your $20. It'll say Town of Minto on it. Give an identification number and a number to call if the dog is lost. I didn't go through them all, but you can get Canadian flags,
Okay.
Texas flags, rainbows, dog bones, you name it. Like, there's all kinds of different tags in there. The designer tags are extra. So the basic tag is free, but the designer tag can be anywhere from $3 to $15.
Okay, well, I wasn't going to talk about tags because we really weren't talking about tags, but then all of a sudden we were talking about tags, and I thought, well, I've had a lot of people ask me about
I
these
thought I knew where you were going.
tags that were dying.
We're gonna fix the tag
We're
situation.
going to fix the tags.
There you go.
Great, let's
Move-
do this.
I'm going to read this. Moved by Councillor Anderson, second by Councillor Guston. The Council of Town of Minto receives the report bylaw number 2022-01 regarding amendments to the dog licensing bylaw and considers bylaw in open session. All in favor? That sounds like a winner there, Cam.
Excellent.
You can stick around or you can go if you want. It's up to you. You can have permission to leave. I know you got things you want to do.
Thanks, teacher.
I love that. Okay, now we have Ashley up. We have I think a couple of these, Ashley, just one. No, we have two. Go ahead, Ashley.
Maybe. So good afternoon, Mayor Bridge and members of council. So this first council report is for a secondary egg severance on O'Dwyer's Road for Michael and Tabitha Reiner. So they're proposing to sever a 1.88 acre parcel of vacant land for a proposed rural residential use and to retain roughly 4.87 acres with their existing home and accessory structure. The property is designated, as I mentioned, as secondary agricultural, so it does permit for the creation of one new lot if the owner has owned the property for at least 5 years. The lot also has to be compatible with the surrounding area, have access to an open public road, and have sufficient space to accommodate well and septic. Additionally, you have to factor in your MDS, your sightlines, your natural heritage features, and the lot cannot hinder agricultural operations. The county official plan does consider secondary agricultural areas as part of the rural portion of the local municipal growth strategy, and we are one of the few municipalities in the county that actually has these pockets of secondary ag land to utilize. The lot is zoned as agricultural, and it will be subject to the reduced agricultural lot provisions as it is less than 25 acres in size, so they would be permitted for one single detached residential dwelling and accessory structures. We have recommended standard conditions, such as an entrance permit has to be applied for once they know their building envelope to get permission from our roads and drainage manager. But we are recommending that council recommends the Land Division Committee approve the consent with the 5 conditions outlined in the report.
Okay, questions? Councillor Anderson.
So the clause that says, or the section that says that it needs to be used for agricultural purposes, it's not likely to be, it's 2 acres by the time they put a house in a barn or a house in a shed. So I don't know if it's used for agricultural purposes now, people who own it, but I was interested to see this because it's everybody's understanding that this can't happen, that you can't set agricultural land. And when it says that it needs to still be used for agricultural purposes, I'm a little confused as to how that all plays it.
So through you, Mayor Bridge, there's 2 different types of agricultural land that's classified by the province. So there's prime agricultural, and that's very restrictive on what you can and cannot do there. Secondary agriculture is a little bit different, but you can sever lots in that zone and build on it. The wording is that you can't hinder agricultural operations. So in an area like this is that it's down O'Dwyer's, it's swampy road for lack of a better word, but there's currently not to begin with, and it is already classified with the soil as secondary agricultural.
I just was curious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agricultural land, and we need that agricultural land, but we need growth as well. And
Well, and it's
I
interesting.
get it clear in my head about what we can and cannot do.
Yeah, so secondary, and I say, and Ashley's right, we're in a few areas that have a few of these little pockets that really don't, they're not agriculturally based now, but they won't hinder. Remember we've had situations where if somebody wanted to, and there was barns or somebody else, then we'd have the MDS,
Right.
and all the other restrictions that a lot would hinder agriculture. So it's a little wordy, like it sounds like they have to do agriculture, but basically it's the other way around. You're not going to hinder any agriculture going forward.
All right.
Okay.
I was just curious.
Yep, no problem. Good question.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Yeah.
Okay, I've got a recommendation here, moved by Councilor McKenzie, second by Deputy Mayor Turton. The Council of Town of Minto recommends the County of Wellington Land Division Committee approve the consent application B 13322, Reiner for the land legally described as concession 13, part lot 7, with municipal address of 9576 O'Dwyer's Road in the town of Minto, and the following condition be considered, and you got the conditions. Okay. All in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Go ahead, Ashley, you're up next.
Okay, this is my second and last one for today. So this report is for the Clark Heinmiller draft plan of subdivision in Palmerston, and it's on the front of the portion of the Heinmiller farm that was previously approved for a draft plan of subdivision with 27 conditions to address. The original proposal was to provide 40 units, some singles, some semis, and townhomes, but it was primarily singles at that point. Last winter, the property was in the process of being sold to Braymark Homes, and as such, the owner asked for a 1-year extension at that point in time to be able to sell the land with that draft plan still on it. Now that Braymark has purchased the lands, they've begun doing some of the engineering and design work and are looking at redlining the original subdivision to increase the density, just to bring it more into conformity with provincial and county policy and where it's at now. That being said, that back portion behind that's highlighted in blue has also been recently brought into the urban boundary as residential land as well. So they're in the process of acquiring it to do a phase 2 of the subdivision, and it would make for a more cohesive plan overall. To conduct the required design and engineering work, they are requesting an 18-month extension. So they have those 27 conditions to fulfill. We think this is a reasonable extension as the developer is in the process of applying for the red line amendment to increase the density. It also more efficiently use residentially designated land that's already within the urban boundary. The developer recently purchased the land, and it does require time and work to do the engineering and design work, and they have been actively working with both us at the town and the county to get some of these studies and the engineering works done. There are 27 conditions, like I mentioned, so 18 months seems reasonable given that there's conditions around stormwater management blocks, roads being named and deeded over to the town, stormwater management reports, your lot grading, your drainage, traffic studies, a formal subdivision agreement, and infrastructure and servicing and all of that, as well as satisfying the school boards and county roads. So we are recommending that council pass a resolution to support the extension, which would then provide the owner the opportunity to go to the county and ask for a formal extension and request, but they require the resolution from us first.
Any questions? That's nice to see this. Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, remember, it's not really a question. It's basically phase one. We can expect something similar to that went on at the old Orsi subdivision in Palmerston, Clare Ridge, intensification on phase one. So this plan of subdivision, or this draft plan of subdivision, likely will be altered.
Yes, that is what they're in the process of doing, but there's a lot of engineering works that go in behind that, and I know their goal is to provide some more, I don't like to say affordable housing anymore, but attainable housing with townhomes and semis, and still primarily probably single detached, just with the county OP wording, but yeah, we'll provide more housing types for sure.
Sure, and if we said no, we're basically just hindering the process. I mean, we want development. We've got a company here that wants to come in and develop a lot of homes, and there's no reason not to support them. It's them, Braemar.
Yep.
Mark?
Mr. Mayor, so actually, they're going to increase the 40 lots.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So
It seems kind of tight in there too.
no, well, they're going to increase the density in the 40 lots. Originally, they were single families.
They're looking at increasing the density and then also how that's going to play into phase two. So they haven't done any formal design work that has been formally submitted that we can share at this point. But they're looking to do a more cohesive development. So what that exactly looks like, it's going to depend a lot on what they need for their engineering works as well.
We're not approving what,
yeah, you're just,
extension is all we're doing, not the.
That's right. There's a whole bunch
Yes.
more work for you to
There
look at.
certainly is.
yeah, they basically need time to figure out what they can do there.
Just remember a little history here. When Heimellers wanted to do this, they got cut back from 80 units down to the 40 by OAB. And the county fought it for us. But the biggest problem back then was they were outside the urban boundary. Now, you remember, you put that in the urban boundary now. And the whole idea of that was to allow us to use some of that site in the urban boundary. It made sense because it's a farm that's surrounded. So the front part was always looking at residential, and the back part was going to be future, but we always thought Bill, when he was doing it, was looking at that as industrial or whatever on the back. So those are all the things that we did to make this work. And I think it's great that he's got somebody to buy it, but there is quite a bit of engineering that has to be done, so you need the extension. So again, the councils in the past have seen the light to do it. We've even fought with Wellington County on trying to get Barrie at the time, the 80 homes, but we weren't allowed under the guidelines because it was outside the urban boundary, that piece, right? So I think this is great, and just more development, and we know we've planned for that kind of development, and we can get some more attainable housing. We want the diversification, and we want the I guess not the diversification, we want the intensification of the property. So I think this is great. Any other questions, Ron?
Yeah, just years ago, there was an easement put through and sewer and water across through that main street of what was supposed to be phase one. And that was for our industrial site. So at the time, we set that all up, and it allowed us to go through there. So I'm glad that was
Yeah, except that,
So there is sewer and water out there of some sort, so.
yeah, unfortunately, the engineering will tell you it's not what they need.
Yeah,
So we'll have to do it all, but it's there, yeah, there's a corridor there for sure. Okay, I have a recommendation here. Moved by Councillor Gudson, second by Councillor Dirksen. The Council of Town of Minto receives the planning technician's report regarding the draft plan of subdivision 23T 1504 for Braymark Homes in the Town of Minto, and further, the Council of Town of Minto supports the request to extend the draft plan subdivision lapsing date to June 30th, 2024. All in favor? That is carried. Okay, Quinn, you're up with electronic monitoring. Ooh, this is interesting, eh?
Yeah, so exciting.
I'm getting out just before they're starting to monitor my electronics.
You're gonna have a good time. There you go. Chose a good time. Yeah, so through you, Mayor Bridge, this is a really short, simple report. As most of you know from when I brought the right to disconnect policy, the province of Ontario has brought forward a number of statutes over the last couple of years under the umbrella of the Working for Workers Act. And one of them from the 2022 version is this electronic monitoring policy that needs to be in place prior to next Tuesday. So
we got a little pressure here tonight.
Yeah, so hopefully it's all fine. Yeah, so basically most municipalities, most employers actually already engage in some form of electronic monitoring, whether that be archiving people's emails or monitoring who goes in and out of buildings. And this policy just basically states like what we're monitoring, why we're monitoring it, and how we're monitoring it. And it lets our employees know what we can and can't see and what we're monitoring when they're doing certain things. So our policy actually came, for the most part, from Centre Wellington's IT department because they're doing all of our electronic monitoring through our IT services. So they provided us with this lovely chart that you'll see here that shows what they're monitoring, how often they're monitoring it, how, why, and what software they use to monitor. So for the most part, they're pretty simple things like our endpoint threat detection, email tracking, network monitoring, the key fobs we use to get in and out of the building, the GPS and the dash cam trackers that we have in the snowplows and the fleet vehicles. All in all, it is, for the most part, they're monitoring everything continuously, but they're not always watching. It's just that they're always there to make sure that nothing sort of goes wrong. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I've got. Like I said, it's pretty simple and it's all sort of legislated, but I'm willing to answer any questions if I can, and if I can't, I will get Centre Wellington IT to answer them for you.
Questions?
Does that include town phones and stuff like that?
It does, yeah.
Oh, cool. Very good.
Yep. Okay. No questions? I have a, where are we here? Moved by Deputy Mayor Turton, second by Councillor Anderson. The Council of Town of Minto receives the report CL 2020-211 regarding electronic monitoring policies, endorsed the implementation of the policy as written. All in favor? That's good. It's carried. Other businesses closed, and I got Ron first, and then Judy. Go ahead, Ron.
Yeah, I gotta try to do this quickly. I just got this letter this end of this week, so I couldn't get it up to council. And it's, again, it's to do with speeding. I don't think we have to discuss it much, but we could pass this off to our staff and have them review it and come up with some sort of recommendation. The letter basically said, as I'll read it to you. Speeders on and around Queen Street, Prospect Avenue, Main Street East, Derby Street, Cumberland Street, and Raglan Avenue. We have would like to have speed bumps installed or some other method of slowing down speeders on our neighborhood streets. As you are aware, Queen Street is one of the main access routes for the walkers attending Palmerston Public School. It seems like this street between Main and Prospect is a favorite raceway for a lot of motorists. Something must be done to protect the walkers and bus route from the speeders and people who park on the road during bus pickup times. This impedes the flow of traffic. This past summer, trucks have been parked day and night on Queen Street and no deterrent despite no parking signs. We are asked for your help and resolve the letter, and I got a whole bunch of signatures.
Ron, just pass that on to Annaline.
Sure.
We're on top of this already. Our staff are working on it.
Absolutely know
Just
that.
it's just
I thought I'd better
another.
bring that to council to say that people are
Well-
concerned out there, and it's good that they do.
Yeah, in fairness, that should have, when did you get the letter?
Friday,
Well, you should have given it to Annalene. It could have been on our correspondence.
Here, Annalene.
Please, in future, do that.
if it was too late to get it to Annalene.
Doesn't
probably-
matter. She could put it on. We've put correspondence here
Why,
the day
why does
of.
that make you angry? Why can't we
Oh,
bring it
no,
up here?
no, I think because in
I
all
don't
of
think
council.
that's fair to anybody. I think, I'm suggesting that we have speeding in town. He brought it to me, I asked it, I brought it to council. I don't think that I'm out of order at all.
Well, I'm not saying you're out of order. I'm just saying it's an ongoing thing. We've got staff working on it. It just looks
Absolutely.
like the staff aren't doing anything when you keep bringing these things to us. The staff are working with the OPP. We had a department head meeting. We talked about it. It just looks like we're dragging our feet on it. There's certain things we can and can't do. We're putting it up there. That's another good example to send with to our OPP and everybody. I'm not saying it isn't, but at the end of the day, if you've got a correspondence, put it on the correspondence. Okay. Anything else?
Anyhow, yes, I do. I'm not sure I didn't put this on correspondence, but I went to the firefighters awards night.
Thank
the
you
other
for
night,
that.
And it was well attended, and I was just amazed at the firefighters. He had one firefighter was there for 45 years and intending to stay on for a while. And a lot of awards, they started at 5-year, 10-year, 15, on up to 45. I think, what do you have, 3 at 40? Chris?
We had 2 45s and 3 35s, and down from there 30, and that's all. Yep, ton.
Pile
Yep.
of people that have got awards, and they're an amazing group of people. They do a wonderful job for us, and I'm really glad that Chris, that you have that awards night for them and bring the attention to them, because they don't do it for that reason. I know that, but it was a good event that night, and I'm glad you've done that.
And Ron, thank you for doing that for us. I know I was double booked. I couldn't go, and we had somebody who was in the air, couldn't make it. So appreciate that. And I really think from the council standpoint, I hope you were able to bring our appreciation to the group.
Sure.
Thank you. Okay, Judy?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to make everyone aware, if they weren't, that this is Ontario Agriculture Week. So it's a time dedicated to celebrating Ontario's hardworking farmers and the abundance of good food produced here in Ontario. And just a reminder that we are into bean harvest right now. So there's lots of combine dust out there, and lots of traffic on the roads. And also corn silage is kind of wrapping up, but there might be a few still working at that. And then grain corn is still to come. There's actually more crop taken off in this area after the 1st of September than there is during the summer. So anyways, just stay alert and stay safe.
Yeah, and when those lights look like they're coming at you, they're people in the fields that are coming at you, and they're not coming out in the road. I've had to stop a couple times. There's no road there. What's going on? Then I realize it's the combine coming down the field. Yeah, they work hard, and it's all about getting it off when they can, right, Jean?
Yep.
Yep. Okay, and Jean, did you have something like there? No, you didn't. Okay, Dave, going this way now.
Yeah, thank you. I'll just take a second and bring this up, but it has to do with the healthcare heroes. You guys support our hospitals? So I'll read to you exactly what it says on the posting. Support your hospital. It's the CKNX Healthcare Heroes Radiothon, and it's a Saturday. No, it's not. It's October 15th. Right. Okay, so you listen to CKNX Radio. You know, they're on there for a good part of the day. There's some great stories, and they give the number quite often. You pick up the phone, and you donate your money, because we need our hospitals.
Thank you, David. That's a good cause, for sure. Just to wrap it up, I just want to say Friday, the staff put on a little do for me, and I was prepared. I had all kinds of notes saying I was going to get roasted, but they didn't. They were really nice to me, and everybody spoke nicely to me, and I didn't know what to do then. So I basically just accepted your nice comments, and I really appreciate it. And I know Chris and who's your crew you had that put it together?
Belinda and all the staff helped.
All the staff.
Yeah, it was all from the staff, so.
It was nice to see the Legion, and I was at the Hanover Legion the next night, so I had 2 Legion dinners back to back. So I think I gained 10 pounds. They're always good, right, Mark? The Legion dinners.
Yes.
Anyways,
I was there.
yeah.
Good.
Anyways, thank you for that.
Shouldn't have gone up 3 times.
Yeah, well,
No, it was the
they kept
three-
saying there was food left. But
It was the 3 desserts.
there was 3 desserts.
Mr. Mayor, I have one for, sorry, I forgot, I was gonna add it on to, Ron's and I forgot. Also, just, I want to let council know at the awards night, we were able to recognize a local Mintonian, I guess is the best way to say it. But a local person from Minto that was at the beginning of September received the award for bravery from the Governor General of Canada. So I went to a ceremony in Ottawa and received it. And so Rick Fisk, we invited him and his wife to the awards night because we figured it was the most appropriate venue. I know it wasn't at council, but we thought with the firefighters, because the firefighters were a key part of this incident. So I'll just read you this little excerpt from the Governor General's website. On May 31st, 2017, Rick Fisk, Leonard Rice, and Paul Snow rescued members of a family from a burning vehicle in Minto, Ontario. The family's truck had hit a tree in front of Mr. Fisk's residence and burst into flames. Mr. Fisk and Mr. Snow ran over and attempted to pull the driver out. Realizing that there was an infant in the rear seat, they broke the window, allowing Mr. Snow to enter the vehicle, unbuckle the child, and hand her to a bystander. Mr. Rice arrived shortly, and the 3 of them helped extricate the driver. Once the man was freed, the 3 men moved to the passenger side to work to rescue a woman trapped in the wreckage. Tragically, she succumbed to her injuries. So I was a big part of that incident. We were there, and Rick definitely deserved the award. And so it was nice. So we presented him with a certificate of appreciation from Minto Fire and from the town of Minto, recognizing him for that in front of all the firefighters and that. And it was a really nice thing that for the firefighters to be able to see that as well. So just wanted to bring that to council and let you know that that's what was done that night too, and it was well received.
Thanks, Chris, for that. And yeah, I think you're right. It was a perfect spot for it because I think working with all the other firefighters, they understand the bravery that Rick went that night to do. So yeah, pass the council's wishes back on there on that as well. Thank you.
I'm not sure if Councillor Gunson had
Oh,
something.
sorry, Councilor.
I had the same as Ron, so just that I was at the
Oh, good.
the banquet and I was going to congratulate all the recipients of the awards. So
Well, you
so
certainly
Ron
can.
stole my thunder.
Oh, well, sorry, Jeff. Well, next time I'll go you first. Okay.
Thanks.
All right. Unless you and Ron can get together on this to figure out who's going to do
We'll
it.
have to discuss it.
Okay. Moving on. Moved by Councillor Dirksen, second by Councillor Elliott. The Committee of the Whole convenes in regular council. All in favor? It's carried. Notice of motion? Seeing any. Moved by Councillor Anderson, second by Councillor McKenzie. The Council of Town of Minto ratifies the motions made in the Committee of the Whole. All in favor? That's carried. Bylaws. Moved by Councillor Elliott, second by Councillor Gutson. The bylaw number 2022-90 be read first, second, and third time and passed in open council and seal of the corporation. All in favor? That's carried. Moved by Councillor McKenzie, second by Deputy Mayor Turton, that the bylaw number 2022-91 to confirm actions of the Council of the Corporation of Town of Minto respecting a meeting held October 4th, 2022 be read first, second, and third time and passed in open council seal of the corporation. All in favor? That is carried. And moved by Councillor Gutson, second by Councillor Dirksen. The Council of Town of Minto adjourns to meet again to call the mayor. All in favor? That's got it. Thanks, everybody, for a good meeting.